Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning crafty coffee break. I hope you're having a great Monday. It's a little chilly here today. Mother Nature needs to make up her mind whether it's going to be winter or spring. You find me on my computer. There I am. Looks good. If you're joining me, say hi. If you're watching the replay, let me know. Today we're going to be working with the Delicate Dream Suite. But before I go into that, here's the QR code if you'd like to just shop with me. Just scan that little QR code and you'll go right to my online store. My catalogs are here, so if you'd like a catalog, let me know. I will drop one in the mail to you. There's a lot of good stuff in there, a lot of good stuff. But let's get started. Let me show you the suite first. All the components to it. First, let's start with this beautiful paper. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but a lot of them have some bronze undertones or shiny. Oh yeah, you can kind of see that. Shiny, beautiful, beautiful paper. Almost sometimes hate to cut into it. This is the designer series paper. The suite also comes with this specialty designer paper. This is all bronzy, shiny. The back is white, so you can use these like for accent pieces. It's so pretty. I don't know. Sometimes I hate to cut into them. Isn't that pretty? So that comes in the suite, along with some gray granite ribbon. I didn't use this today. The dots, which are called natural matte dots. So we have white, secret sea, mossy meadow, and crumb cake. And they're nice and flat. Makes it nicer to mail, because then sometimes you don't need the extra postage. And then here's the stamps and dies. And one of the fun things about this set is you can use the dies to cut out these. I cut out on one of the cards we're making today. Excuse me. You can cut out the flowers. This flower. You can cut out. I believe you can cut this out, and these little bitty flowers. I haven't played with it all yet, but that's kind of fun. The way you don't have to stamp it, you can just cut it. It comes with some cute little sentiments. It's a really pretty set. Some teeny tiny pieces. Like I said, I just started playing with this, but this is what our cards are going to be made from today. So let's get started. Here's our first card. Excuse me. And then you can see I used some of that pretty secret sea with the bronze flowers in it. Just nice simple card. All right, let's pull everything out. All right, as usual, you start with your card base. That's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let's put this over here. Make sure it's kind of nice. Now I did, excuse me, sorry, first thing in the morning. I did use my Gallery Blooms dies to cut this frame out. So this is going to go inside the frame. So this is 2 by 3 3/4. Then behind the frame, we have a piece that's 2 3/4 by 4 3/8. And then our piece that goes inside, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Let's just go ahead and stick that in there right now. Just get it out of the way. I should probably talk to my dogs or something in the morning before I go live, so I'm not always so froggy in the morning. There's our inside piece, okay? So we're going to go ahead and stamp on our 2 by 3 3/4 piece with Secret C. And we're going to stamp the Hope You Feel Your Best Soon. I'm going to pull in this so I can get a better, let's see how straight I can be. And I hope if I'm off camera, I apologize. Oh, that's why there's 2 sides to the paper. Let's try that again. I guess I didn't ink my stamp up well enough. There we go. That'll work. Set that off to the side. I'll clean it in a minute. And then we're going to take this fun little flowery stamp. And I did have a piece, so I don't get ink on here. Let's just use that. So we're going to just stamp some little designs in the corners. And the opposite corners, like that. So there's that. I'll move this out of the way. And then we're going to glue this to the back of this frame. So I'm going to just put the glue around the outer edges here. Oh, let me close this before I stick my hand in it. So we'll put a little bit of glue, probably a little bit too much glue, but that's okay. And we're going to glue this. Make sure I glue the right one down to flip it over so I can kind of see. I just got glue on my fingers. You know, when you're making your practice card, it always goes so much better. I did too much glue. Let me pull this out so I can play with this a little better. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. That'll work. And then we're going to glue this on top of our 2 3/4 by 4 3/8 piece. I mean, this is a simple card. This one's pretty fast. I didn't really need any more glue. Like that. I glue all over my fingers now. And I didn't leave much of an edge. I just wanted, because it's going to go on the Secret C card base, so I wanted it to have a little bit of white showing. Like that. Let me rub some of this glue off my fingers. There we go. And we're going to put this up on dimensionals. Like that. I'll pick those up later. And we're going to set it in the center of our card. And then we're going to take some of these white dots. Let me turn them this way. I'm going to stick one up in the corner. Well, I'm going to make sure it's the right side up. There. And then I'll put 2 down here. Like that. And there's our first card. simple, easy, nice little get well card. We'll set that off to the side. Our next card is a fun fold. Look at this one. This one's a little more detailed. Took a little more time, the little cutout pieces. But this is the one I also cut from the Designer Series paper. And I used my Stylish Shapes circle die for the circle here. Okay. So this one, I'm going to need my trimmer. So this one is cut at 8.5 by 5.5. You're still going to score it at 4 1/4, like a regular card base. But then we're going to cut 1.5 inches off of this side. Let me grab my trimmer real quick. 1.5 inches off of this side. Put in my trimmer. Hopefully I'm pretty straight. And cut that off. Save that for another project. Okay. So then your card looks like this. All right? Let's move my dots. So all our pieces here so your top layer here is 2.5 by 5 1/4, and the layer is going to be 2 1/4 by 5. And then this layer here is 1.5 by 5 1/4, and then 1 1/4 by 5. So let's go ahead and glue those together now. There's the first layer. And remember, what the heck happened there? I'm sure if I cut it with scissors, it's going to be off, but let's. Not bad. Is that the right size? Yep. Okay. Make sure you put glue on the opposite side so we have a little bit of contrast there. It's beautiful paper. And this one has one of our new colors in it, the hydrangea hue. This is really pretty. And then like that. And then we're going to glue these onto our card base. So this one's going to go here and that one's going to go there. Let's glue this down on here. Like that. And then on the other side, I'm going to stick this one on the inside. Make sure they line up, not too bad. So then, let's go ahead and, this is for the inside, so you can add another sentiment. This is 5 1/4 by 2.5. Stick this inside here. All right, now let's build our circle. First, let's go ahead and stamp "Thank you kindly." And I'm stamping that in early espresso, kind of to mimic the bronze color a little bit. Let's hope I stamped this one right the first time, because I only made one circle. So that's going to go off here to the side. Perfect. Close that up. Now let's add our, so this one's going to go down first. And I did trim off the edge a little bit here, but it doesn't have to be trimmed off. I'm going to see if I can get my skinny glue, my skinny tip glue. Even with this, sometimes I'm pretty messy. So I'm just going to kind of put little dabs of glue on some of the bigger leaves. I'll stick this down. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's do it like that. Okay. And then we have these are all cut from the dies. So this was cut from Mossy Meadow, and these are cut from the crumb cake, and these are cut from Early Espresso. And then this flower is cut from the Designer Series paper. So let's go ahead and I'm going to overhang. Oh, I don't want that one. Let's use this one. These would be perfect to use adhesive sheets because they're so little. And it's going to hang off the top a little bit like that. This one's going to go off to the side. And it will hang off just a touch too. Yeah, these would have been perfect for adhesive sheets because they're so tiny. But if you get a fine tip glue like this, it makes it a little easier. I just bought those bottles on Amazon. And we'll glue this little guy down. We'll go. What's the weather like? It's pretty and sunny today, but it was chilly. I stepped out on my deck thinking it was wet, and it was icy. And I very gracefully went down on my knee. I was going out there to fuss at my dog, thinking the deck was wet. I think I was more embarrassed, hoping none of my neighbors saw me. We're going to pop this up with a dimensional. And we're going to place it so we kind of cover up where all the vines or all the little leaves, stems are congregating. So let's do it like that. And then we'll take a few of these dots. We're going to do the crumb cake ones. We'll put one up there. Here and here, like that. Okay. And then we're going to put this up on dimensionals. So what I like to do is I start with, let me close this glue up, a dimensional. Kind of figure out where I want this, kind of make my sentiment be straight. And then I'll stick a dimensional right there. And then using my finger as a guide, I'll put one there and one there, like that. And then I line it up. Using my finger as a guide, make sure I'm sticking my, and then stick that down. And then there's card number 2. Aren't they, isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful paper. Who wouldn't like to get that as a thank you card? We'll set that over to the side. And our last card is a little bit more involved. This is copied from the catalog. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to do with y'all. So let's pull all our little pieces out. There's a lot with this one. Get my little flower. Come on, little flower. There. Okay. We're going to do some coloring. We'll do that in a second. So these were stamped in crumb cake. And these were cut in Mossy Meadow. Our sentiment is on a piece that's 4 by 3/8. And the under layer is 5 by 1.5. Once again, you know your card base at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let's go ahead and burnish this real quick. Your inside piece, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and stick that on the inside right now. Left my glue open too long. Okay, I'll close that in just a second. Let's stick this in the inside. Sometimes I'm like a bull in this china shop, knocking everything around. But that's in there now. This is your layer that goes on top of your card, which is 5 by 4. So I'm going to glue that down now. Center that. Like that. Now this piece is cut at 3.5 by 3 3/4. I got to think about this because I got to cut it into 1. So it would be the longer side has to be, so it's got to go this way. I have to cut them in 3/4 inch pieces. I'm pretty sure they're 3/4 inch. Let's see. Yep, 3/4 inch pieces. So I'd want the longer side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this stamp. Let me scoot up some so you can see what I'm doing. This stamp, and we're just going to stamp it on here just to give it some background definition. We're going to stamp it in crumb cake. Okay, and you're just going to stamp. Stamp. And we're just going to put a little piece there and a little piece there. I mean, you can do this however you want, however you want to, because you're going to cut it apart, but I just want to make sure that there's a stamped image on each piece. Bring my trimmer back in here. We need to cut this in 3/4 inch increments, 5 of them. There's 1. 2. 3. 4, and 5. So there's our pieces. Let's move them over. Like that. And we'll bring our card base back, and then we're going to stick these on here. Across the front. I know that last one always looks smaller. I'm not sure about those dimensions. Because I thought the same thing on my first card. And I know I cut them all at 3/4 of an inch. So that last one always looks a little smaller. But that's okay. So what I like to do when I do something like this, I'm going to put the first one down. I'm going to kind of gauge how far in I want to go. And they don't have to be straight or lined up, or they can be little cattywampus. And then I'll do the last one so I know what I'm working with. And I try to keep it somewhat similar to the first one. Remember, this is your card. You can do it however you want. It is a homemade card, and nobody knows if it's right or wrong, or something didn't work right, or because only you, the creator, know this. So keep that in mind. Don't be too particular about what you're doing. And then it just looks kind of like this. So, like I said, no rhyme or reason, just a fun little background. So let's take a second and color. Let's do some coloring. We're not going to do much. It's pretty simple coloring. Okay, so these little flowers here, we're just going to color in crumb cake real quick. Just to give them, I used light crumb cake. I think we could have used the darker one. Or we could have just cut the flowers out of the designer series paper too. I had already stamped and cut these with the dies when I realized that, oh, I could have cut those out of the paper. So there's those little flowers. That's all we're going to do with those. Excuse me. And then we're going to take, let's see what I want. I used the dark mossy meadow on the leaves, but I think I'm going to go with the lighter mossy meadow for the leaves. I felt like the dark was just kind of dark. Like I said, you could have just cut these out of the designer series paper. But this gave me a chance to play with a new color because we're going to pull out our hydrangea hue blend. Do you like the color? I do like the color. And we have some great black and white designer series paper that's just calling for blends to make it pretty. So there's that. And then I used my hydrangea hue blends, and I just took my dark one, just kind of went around the center of the flower a little bit, just to maybe give it a little dimension. Not much, like that. And then I just colored in the flowers. It's a beautiful color. It does definitely remind me of a hydrangea when they're that pretty purple color. My hydrangeas are just starting to bud out. Don't worry about the centers because we're going to stick a dot in the middle. So then I just kind of pull that color out, the dark color out a little bit. You know, once the blends dry, they do have a little bit of a different color to them. Sometimes they're not quite as dark. Remember, anytime you watch one of my lives, all my cards are available to be purchased if you'd like. But if you purchase from me, you place a $30 online order from my online store. I will include these 6 cards I made in your order. Okay, so here we go. Now let's put this all together. This piece goes down first. I'm going to go back to my skinny glue just to... So I'm going to put this one down first. Okay. Like that. And then we're going to stick this down. Like I said, these are perfect. Oh, I'm going to drop it. I knew I was going to drop it. At least I moved off my card. Probably should use tweezers to hang on to these. All right. And this is going to go... It was supposed to go under that, but we're just going to do it like this. Like that. And then these little ones go off to the side. Like this. Glue on my fingers. And then we'll put this one, like I said, this one's got a little more small pieces, a little bit more involved. That's why I saved it for last. And we'll put this one here. And what I'm going to do next is close my glue. And we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment on here. We're stamping that in Mossy Meadow. Wishing you happiness and love. Let's see how I do here. Oh, that'll work. And that's all I need that for, so let me get rid of it. And we just kind of took the ends, snipped them. Give them a little angle. We'll glue this down to the Mossy Meadow piece. Like that. Not bad for eyeballing it. We're going to put this up on a few dimensionals. And we're going to, this goes right across the card like this. And then we're going to use dimensionals on these little flower pieces. So let's see. this one's going to go over here. So we're going to put the dimensional up there. Like that. And then this one's going to come down here. We're going to try to cover up the stems. So we'll put the dimensional about there. Excuse me. And then these little bitty ones, we're also going to pop up on dimensionals. Let me get my skinny ones, my minis. Just have there. Let's flip these over. Okay. And then we're going to stick one up here. And these two down here. And then we'll take a couple of these Secret C dots. Put them in the center of the flowers. Like that. And there is card number 3. So here are all our cards we made today. Pretty, beautiful paper. All set. Excuse me. Like I said, place an online order for $30 or more. I will send you these 6 completed cards to you once you place your order. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you'd like to shop with me, scan that QR code. Otherwise, have a great Monday, and I'll see you soon. Bye.